So this is the euro dollar analysis for Friday the 6th of October. Now, let's go out to the high time frames and get an idea of where the markets have been and how they're performing. So, just waiting for the charts to load. See if there's anything interesting. So, we were in an uptrend and prices have come up. We've got this wick to the wick in the uptrend direction, but we've sold back down. This is over the 120 mark. That was in August. It was a decent sign of weakness. Also in September, we actually went up, created higher highs, and we actually sold back down to the point of the candle closing bearish. Now this potentially signals a pullback in the overall trend to the upside. It shows that possible a bit of exhaustion on the bullish side. We've also had the fundamental news in terms of the German elections and so on. So we're having a bit of a pullback based on the monthly chart on the euro dollar. Now, this week being the first week of the month of October, it's going to be a pivotal week, as we're going to have our weekly pivot, which also doubles as the monthly pivot. So I'm going to go down to the weekly time frame. Let's have a look at that. Weekly time frame and our most important pivots at 1788, and as you can see by this chart, prices is trading below it. Beneath price, we did have the 200 period moving average on the weekly. We were bought back up from that level last week. This week so far we're into test it, so let's just have a look where that is. So it's currently sitting at 1709. Yep, on the weekly time frame is sitting at 1709. I've got that already marked out in the chart with a horizontal support resistance line at 1710. So as you can see on this weekly chart as well, we had the big gap up from the Macron win, and the prices pretty much have not looked back since. It's pretty strong momentum to the upside. Now we're starting to see a bit of a turn in prices. Been a couple of weeks since we've continued the upward momentum now, and we are testing this potential support of the 200 period moving average. So if I go down to, say, I don't usually use the dailies a lot, but I'll just go down to the dailies, see if there's anything interesting on the dailies. Again, on the dailies, you just pretty much just have, it's just symptomatic of weakness, really. We're trading below the 50 period moving average on the daily. So let's just go down to the execution time frame, which is the hourly, or possibly even lower. So let's have a look at the hourly and see what's happened today. Well, today the 5th prices, I did mention in yesterday's video that is 200 period moving average as well as the weekly / monthly pivot of 1788 were potential areas of resistance. 200 period moving average potentially providing a dynamic resistance. We've not actually gone up to the 200 period moving average. Instead, we've gone up to the 1770, which was our horizontal moving average, before our 1788, and yep, we've sold off from that level all the way from the 1770 back down to the support at 1710. So we do have NFP coming out today, Friday the 6th, and I suppose we have to think about what's actually happened in the US. We had the hurricanes, and so in all likelihood we would have had a loss of jobs, an increase in unemployment and so on in relations to the natural disaster. So we could potentially see some weakness, but it's pretty common knowledge what's happened to the US. So to some extent, you would expect the market to price that in, because it's not really a surprise. The hurricanes were not really a surprise. They've happened several weeks now. So in terms of the economic forecasts for where they expect numbers to be, they're going to forecast weaker numbers. But yeah, we're not trading the fundamentals. So where are we now and what do we expect? Now, this is the second time, you could say, that we have tested the 1710 level. And as we've seen with other with analysis on other currency pairs, when a level is repeatedly tested, it eventually breaks. So in light of the fact that we are trading below the weekly and monthly pivot, we are down to 1710 support. Now, if we do hold that level, although I do expect prices to go in a bit of a range until NFP, if we do hold that level and the data points to a bullish move in the euro against US dollar, so say the NFP is a hell of a lot weaker than expected, then we could go back up to test that 1770 level along with this 200 period moving average. Beyond that, we obviously have the monthly weekly pivot 1788, and above that the rather ambitious 1830. Now, if we do get P falling in line, or even better than expected, the next level I've marked out in the chart is at 1612. Now, that is quite a bit away. We're looking at 100 pips. But that is the next level marked on the charts. So to the downside target being 116.12. My overall bias on this currency pair, especially in relation to tomorrow, is still short. So 16.12 being a medium term target. Once we reach there, then I suppose we could look at levels beneath that. So the 115 being a nice would likely be some kind of, we'll see some reactions around 115, but more important for me would be 114.28. So those are the levels to the downside. I've mentioned levels to the upside. I've mentioned the fundamental news, and we've mentioned the dynamic support resistance as well as the horizontal in terms of market structure. So yeah, that pretty much wraps up Euro USD. And before I go, LCS, like, comment, subscribe. Thanks for watching.